The Motor Spirit is in San Marino, California for the San Marino Motor Classic.
G'day, my name's Jamie Schena from Australia. I'm living out here in the US now. And I'm an industrial artist, so I hand fabricate out of sheet metal and scrap automotive components, car sculptures or automotive sculptures, everything built by eye from photographs generally. So I do a lot of commission-based work, and this Camaro right here is a client's order. So it's a quarter-scale sculpture, but it's an interpretation. It's not supposed to be like a die-cast model. It's supposed to be very much a mechanical interpretation of the car, and just for me to capture the stance of the car. So it's an exaggerated version to get that character. So everything's hand fabricated, hand built. I use a MIG welder to weld everything, and then I use a 5-inch grinder and a hammer. That's pretty much how I'm fabricating and everything. These bearings I use for wheels are machined on the lathe, but they're all recycled. And then whatever component I cannot find to replicate something, I actually have to hand make. So for example, all the seat detail and all the interior components, they're all hand fabricated. So everything's broken down into smaller pieces. This is my kind of like the process. I try not to focus on the whole thing because it can be overwhelming. It's more I break it down into little shapes and I just create those pretty much based off the photograph. I think especially all the older classic cars that are here, for me the hand-built, the craftsmanship behind them is the character in the car. Obviously from a design point of view, nowadays cars are sort of getting very watered down from a safety point of view, and they have to be what they have to be, which is a shame because the older cars where safety wasn't as much of a factor, they could achieve a lot more beautiful forms. And I guess the different processes in building cars, I think nowadays is like it's more about the economics of it and making money, whereas before I think there's a lot more passion in the builds of them and trying to, like the old Ferraris trying to make a race car, and I guess the technology's limited them, so they had to build it by hand, and I think that shows the character in the vehicle with the handwork on them, and that's what I try and replicate in my work. And I think speed is obviously, everyone likes to go fast and most cars are built to go fast, so I think that bringing that speed element and the surfaces and the line work of the car creates character also. Depends what the vehicle's inspired on or what it's supposed to do, and I think obviously the more beautiful forms like your old Jaguars and Ferraris, Porsches, those vehicles were built as race cars, and I think that they've captured that. Like, it looks like a race car, it looks fast, it looks beautiful, and being hand built, you can see the passion in the build, and I guess those processes and those vehicles are what I focus my artwork towards, because it's passion at the end of the day.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a primer in automotive design.
Let's get started with Class D1, our third place car. It's a 1941 Graham Hollywood Supercharger owned by Ron. Our second place car in Class D1 is a 1932 Plymouth Sports Roadster owned by Ben. And here comes our first place winner in category D1, which is pre-war American classics.